All right, we are live, and so I'm going to wait a few minutes to see if we have some people log on. All right. So as we wait for some people to log on, I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Megan. I am a digital marketing specialist here at Ugly Mug Marketing. I've been a part of the Ugly Mug team for just over a year now, and I'm really excited to be on here with you guys. So if you don't know, today we're talking about SMART goals. So I'm really, really excited. Like I said, I won't go too much into it. We'll wait a couple of more seconds or minutes for some more people to hop on. I see that we have a few joining in. So welcome, y'all. I'm excited to speak to y'all today. And so, like I say, we'll get started right in about a minute or so. And we're going to talk about SMART goals. It is almost Q2, which is crazy. Q2 of 2024. I cannot believe how fast the year is going by. We're already at the end of March. Easter is like next week. And so I thought it would be a great time to talk about SMART goals and honestly revamping, getting reorganized after the first 3 months of the year. A lot of people wait until the new year to start goals. And then by about this time is when we start honestly giving up on those goals or wishing we would have done something a little differently. And so hopefully I can get y'all excited about trying to get goals and organize your goals so that they actually are achievable and something you can be excited about. So yeah, for those hopping in, again, my name is Megan, and so we'll go ahead and get started. And like I said, we're talking about creating SMART goals and the mindset it takes to reach them. So the big thing is not just about creating the goal, but that it also takes having the right mindset to want to reach those goals so that you can come out successful on the other side. And so with that, your super cool host for today is me, Meagan Beaudoin. Like I said earlier, I'm a digital marketing specialist here at Ugly Mug. I've been here right about a year. I'm a part of the digital marketing team. We do mostly social media marketing, some email marketing through Facebook, and everything from there. So we have a lot of fun. So what are we going to cover today? So we're going to get SMART. What is a SMART goal? And then we're going to move into the power of mindset. We're going to talk about a fixed mindset versus a success mindset, and then strategies to goal achievement. And we're going to break down goals and get to the root of how we achieve them. So with that, let's get smart, like I said. And so, honestly, a lot of people may have heard the term SMART goals before, but you might have forgotten what it means. So, SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So, we want all of our goals to fall into each of those letters of that acronym. So, starting with S, being specific. Your goals should be clear, they should be precise, and they should answer the question what, why, and how. And so, more specifically, you want to identify the specific goal that you want to achieve. Define the purpose or the reason behind the goal, and specify the actions or steps required to accomplish the goal. So I have an example at the bottom of the screen, and it says increase monthly sales goals by 20% by implementing a new marketing strategy targeting specific customer segments. So in there, you know exactly what your goal is. We want to increase sales by 20%, and you talk about how you're going to do it. Again, staying specific, writing it out, and knowing what you are trying to achieve. You can't just say, oh, we're going to increase sales. Well, by how much? Or how are you going to do that? You want to have the plan and the why already built into the goal that you are trying to achieve. And so after you get specific, Then you want to make sure you're measurable. And so your goal should be quantifiable. Progress should be trackable. You don't if you can't track your progress, you won't know if you're achieving your goals. And then that can be honestly a little disappointing. Am I right? So, when you're being measurable, establish concrete criteria for measuring progress. You want to know how you're going to measure your progress. Will it be through this metric or that metric? Will you write them down? Things like that. And so, determining how progress will be measured, set benchmarks or milestones to track incremental progress. As I said a few seconds ago, if you don't have a way to measure your progress, you really can begin to get defeated. Whereas if you have incremental goals or benchmarks or milestones, you can see your progress along the way. And so, an example, moving from the example that we had with our specific, we're going to track weekly sales figures to ensure 5%. To ensure a 5% increase each month towards the goal of a 20% increase in quarterly sales. So, again, this gives you an idea of what your goal needs to look like. So, here they have a 5% increase each month, but we're going to track that weekly. That 20% overall goal is quarterly. So, as you can see, they've broken it down, and we can determine each step of our process and measure how we are going and reaching our next goal. So then after we make sure it's measurable, we want to make sure our goal is achievable. Goals should be realistic and attainable. Consider the available resources, skills, and constraints that you might be dealing with before you set the goal. So with that, assess the feasibility of the goal or based on your current capabilities. So what do you already have? What can you already do? What skills do you have? What do you already have in your tool belt to accomplish those goals? Then identify potential obstacles and develop strategies to overcome them. I think this one is so important when it comes to knowing if your goal will be achievable or not, is looking at the obstacles. Are those obstacles things that no matter what capabilities, no matter what skills, or no matter what's in your tool belt, can you still reach those goals if obstacles come your way? If you already have that planned out and those obstacles do come up, then you're more likely to keep going and you're more likely to achieve your goal. And so ensure that the goal is challenging but not so difficult to be unattainable. And so, yes, a goal can be achievable but also challenging, but you don't want to set a goal that's unrealistic because as we talked about and while you're measuring, you'll just get tired, you'll get defeated, you won't ever seem to reach the goals that you're meeting, and so you'll give up. But if you make sure that you're being challenged and you're working towards it, you're motivating yourself, then you can reach the goal. So, an example of that would be allocate additional budget for marketing initiatives to support the goal of increasing sales, taking into account current financial resources and projected returns on investment. So, right there, you can see that we're looking at the capabilities and the things that we have, and so additional marketing budget. Okay, we know we need to allocate that. We see that we have additional budget to allocate, and then we're going to take it into account our financial resources and projected returns on investment later on. So, with the things that we can foresee, our goal is achievable. So then, relevant. Goals should be relevant to your broader objectives, values, and priorities. And this can be for your company or even within your personal life. You should have a goal that fits in with your values and with what you do on a day-to-day basis and with who you are. Don't set a goal and it has nothing to do with who you are because it won't be relevant to you. And if it's not relevant to you, you won't care when it gets hard and when it's time to keep going and to strive towards reaching your goal. And so evaluate the significance of the goal in relation to organizational or personal objectives, like I just said, and then consider how achieving the goal contributes to long-term success. Ensure that the goal is meaningful and impactful both personally and professionally. And so going back to bullet point 2, thinking about your long-term success. If this is a work goal or a personal goal, you just really want to make sure that you can see long-term, like this, me achieving this can then potentially lead to me setting another goal and continuing to move forward and continuing on the path to whatever I define success as. And so then making sure that the goal is meaningful and impactful both personally and professionally. I know a lot of people talk about burnout in the workplace, and so we have goals here at Ugly Mug that we work on every quarter, and we follow this layout of SMART goals, making sure that our goals are achievable. But one thing that is really important when we're setting those goals is that they are impactful and they are meaningful, even though it's a professional goal to me personally. I know that as a person, the goals that I'm setting for myself at work will impact me in the long run. And so, therefore, I'm more willing to strive and do what I need to do to complete those goals. So, just think about that as you are writing out your goals. And so, the example here is focus on increasing sales in target markets where there's significant growth potential in alignment with the company's overall strategic objectives. So, again, you're just making sure that the goals that you're setting are in alignment with the bigger overarching umbrella and the objectives of your company. Or, again, if this is a personal goal that you're working on, in alignment with who you are, what you want for yourself, and where you see yourself in the future, whether that's the near future or in 5 years. So then the last letter is T. We want to make sure our goals are time bound. Goals should be time bound. Have a specific deadline or time frame for completion. So establish a clear timeline or deadline for achieving the goal. This needs to happen at the start. Break down the goal into smaller, manageable tasks with associated deadlines. So how we talked about as you're measuring your progress, you know that week to week, you want to have this done, and this done. You want everything to have a time constraint because if not, we're all human. Procrastination happens. And if you have this goal of blank by the end of 3 months, but you don't break it down week to week, month to month, you may procrastinate and realize that you're in month 3 and you haven't done anything that you said you were going to do. So every piece of your goal and every piece that you break down needs to have a time constraint. Create a sense of urgency and accountability to maintain momentum and focus. Again, if you see that you have so much time to do these things, you won't do them. And then if you do them, they may not be your best work. Whereas if you created a sense of urgency, you had the momentum, you had accountability from team members or friends in your goal, then you would be more likely to get it done and get it done with your best work and not rushed at the end. And so with this, the example here is to achieve a 20% increase in sales within the next 6 months with monthly progress reviews and adjustments to strategies as needed. So again, there's an overall 6 months that we're looking to increase our sales and then having the monthly progress tracking. And like I said, in examples in the beginning of the presentation, even breaking it down more so into weeks and things like that. So again, make sure that your goals are time bound. So moving from what a SMART goal is and what each piece of the SMART acronym means, a big thing about completing and achieving your goals is the power of your mindset. So today I want to focus on having a fixed mindset versus a success mindset. And so seeing fixed versus success, you can probably guess that we want to have a success mindset, but many times we can find ourselves having much more of a fixed mindset, especially if we start to feel defeated or we haven't reached the goal in the past. So what is a fixed mindset? So someone with a fixed mindset may have fear of failure and belief that it reflects negatively on their intelligence or abilities, and they have limited resilience and struggle to bounce back from setbacks or failures. So I know that I can be like this sometimes, where a project seems really big, or even a personal goal. Just what if I fail? What if I tell people and I don't accomplish it? And so you have that fear of failure, and you don't even want to start the goal. But we can't be like that. You just need to push through. So again, when you have the fixed mindset, you can avoid taking risk or trying new things just to avoid the failure. You prefer tasks that come naturally and require minimal effort. I think this is a really big one. I've heard a quote before. I can't really remember what exactly it said, but basically that being comfortable can be a huge constraint on your success. And in that, it just means you're afraid to fail, so you stay where you're comfortable, but you never push yourself to do more, to learn more, to acquire the skills that you need to be successful. And so you may experience heightened stress or anxiety in response to failure. Again, I know I can say this about myself. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but it is something to be aware of. And so you may resist seeking feedback or support from others due to fear of judgment or rejection. And so I mentioned that a few minutes ago with saying, you need to have people to hold you accountable, and you want to tell people about your goal, but what if they give me criticism, or what if their accountability feels like judgment when it's what you asked for in the first place? But you get stuck in that mindset of, I'm afraid to fail, or I'm afraid that other people will see me fail, and then you end up stuck in the same place that you were 6 months ago. And so we want to avoid that at all costs. Again, nothing to be ashamed of, but something to be aware of. If any of these things fit, you can say, yes, I do that sometimes. Let's shift, and let's get a success mindset. And so a strong sense of determination and perseverance, and you're open to learning and self-improvement. Again, this may not happen overnight, but it's something to remind yourself of daily. So you want to cultivate a mindset of continuous improvement and lifelong learning. Here at Ugly Mug Marketing, lifelong learning is a big thing. We're constantly reading, constantly taking time to learn and to grow and to fail. There is something big about failure when you want to be successful. Failure is not a bad thing. It is such a good thing and such a learning tool. And so take ownership of outcomes and learn from your mistakes. And again, it's the ownership part. Sometimes it can be really, really difficult to take ownership when you failed, or when you feel like something didn't go the way that you thought it would, or you set a goal and you didn't achieve it. It can be hard to take ownership and say, this is why, and this was because of me. But again, someone with a success mindset is self-aware, and they know that, they need to take ownership for the reasons why they, possibly didn't reach their goals. And so understand that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and learning. So, what I think about here with this bullet point is imposter syndrome. So, again, I've gotten it before, especially throughout undergrad and grad school, and being amongst people that you might feel are smarter than you, and then jumping right into a career right after college, and, like, thinking I have to know everything before I start is something also that I've seen with some of the Ugly Mug interns that they've mentioned. I just feel like I don't know anything, and I feel like I have to learn everything. It's like, yes, exactly. Again, you have to embrace that you won't know everything. And like I say, that imposter syndrome will make you anxious and make you think that you're not good enough to be here, or that you don't know all that you need to know to be successful. But you have to understand that if you're willing to learn, then you can do what you need to do to then be what you want to be. So, yeah, don't let imposter syndrome get you, and always understand that there's more room to learn, and that you can achieve anything if you just keep working towards it. So, with that, bounce back from setbacks and persevere in the face of obstacles. Literally, when I see the word bounce, I want to bounce. And so sometimes it really is just hitting the wall, bouncing back, being upset for a little while, because sometimes when you hit the wall, it hurts. But a part of bouncing back is getting up, seeing again where you made the mistakes, learning from it, and having that success mindset. So from there, with all of that being said, what are some strategies for overall goal achievement? And it's really, really simple. use the SMART goal framework. A lot of times people will know, okay, my goal needs to be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, but they won't take the time to write down each step. Or they'll say, oh, I have it in my brain. This is my goal, and it is what it is. So it's like, no, use the framework. Don't just think about the framework. Know what it means to create a SMART goal. Go through every step and take the time to organize what your goal is. And this is with every goal, like I say, whether it's professional or personal, take the time. I'm going to leave that at that. And then believe in your ability to achieve your goals. I think that is the biggest thing. Again, that goes along with having the success mindset. If you make an excuse at the start, even if you take your full time, you sit down for days and you write down every piece of your goal, you follow the SMART goal framework, and then at the end of that, on day one, when it's time to start your goals, if you make an excuse at the beginning for yourself, if you don't achieve it, then you've already failed. You need to look at your goal and say, I am going to achieve this goal. Not, I'm going to give up, or, well, at least I tried. If at the 3 months, if I tried my hardest and I'm here, then I'll be okay. And it's like, well, yes, that is okay, but don't tell yourself that day one. Tell yourself that you're going to do it and make yourself believe that you're going to do it. Don't cheat yourself. And then the last thing, to me, one of the other big important things about goal achievement: celebrate your progress and achievements along the way. That is why the measurable part of the SMART Goal acronym is so important to me, because you really do have to motivate yourself along the way. If that means a weekly check in where you say, I did this much, and you feel like it's just a small increment towards your goal, see the little improvements and celebrate that. Even plan in, while you're planning your goals and you're listing out your dates, because it is time bound and you want to make sure that each piece has a time constraint on it. Put in some celebrations in there. Like, I know that in week 2, when I get to this point, I'm going to do this, and figure out whatever it is that you need to keep yourself motivated to get to that second, checkpoint. So just always make room for celebration. Even in the failures, there is room for celebration, and there's room to acknowledge the work that you did along the way. So then, with that, does anybody have any questions for me? I see that we have a couple of people live. I see Carlina, all growth starts at the end of your comfort zone. That is so, so true. You have to get out of your comfort zone to reach your goals and to keep striving. But do we have any other questions? I know one question that I've gotten about SMART goals is, can a goal be both challenging and achievable? And 100% yes, a goal can be challenging and achievable. I think a lot of times people think that you get, trying to think of the word, but that if it's achievable, then it can't be that challenging because you have to be able to achieve it. But the goal needs to be hard enough to where you feel like you're working and that you're motivated and that you're growing and it's stretching you. And so, yes, uh, even hard goals are achievable, and you want to have that challenge in there. And so, yeah. And then another question that I've gotten is, what if circumstances change along the way? So, say, like in my example, you set a 6 month goal, and in month 3, life happens, things shift in your company, all of the above. What happens? And the honest answer is you stop and you reassess, and or not stop, but you take the time and you pause to reassess your goal to see, okay, with these changing things, does this change my goal outcome? Does this change the trajectory of my 6 month goal? But you keep going, you keep your goal, even if you have to reassess. Remember that flexibility is key. And in any area of life, you want to be adaptable. You want to be able to adapt to change and, keep going when things get hard. So, I see a question about any free time management tools that you can recommend. Um, Honestly, off the top of my head, I'm thinking any free time management tools. I would say for me, I think it depends on the person as far as how you manage your time. And so a big way that I manage my time is through using my calendar and just setting those time constraints. So I know that every single thing that I do is working towards a bigger goal. I set a time and I try to fit it in that time. But as far as a specific tool, like I say, I use my calendar and just looking at how many hours I have in a day and just keeping a process for everything when it comes to time management. Um, Yeah, do we have any other questions before we go on? Thank you all so much for taking the time to. Um, oh, I got one more. So, a time blocking schedule. So, yes, so someone asked about a time blocking schedule. So, with that, it's having the blocks of time and your allocations for the day. Um, and you literally every 15 minutes you know what you're doing and you look at your totals, you see where your time is going. You can honestly make time blocking schedules in Excel, Google Sheets, things like that. Again, it's knowing how many hours you have in a day, setting that aside, filling in those blocks, and knowing, okay, this task is going to take up this much, things like that. So another question I see is how much free time should a busy person allocate a day, a week, or a month? And so I think busy for everybody means something different, right? And so everybody uses their time a little differently. And so when you're thinking about, well, I'm too busy for, I think again, we go back into that time management situation. And it's like, okay, let's prioritize. I think prioritization is a huge thing when you're looking at, okay, I'm too busy. What's my free time allocation? Things like that. And so write out your priorities. Look at, okay, every day, say if you're a business owner, every day I know that I need to, contribute 6 hours of hard work to my business. And then you also know that you might be a mom. And so I have 2 to 4 hours of, bringing my kids to school every day, cooking, maintaining the house, things like that. And literally looking at your daily priorities and then finding where you can cut down on sometimes, where you can get more efficient on certain things. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, does it really take me this long to do that? Or does it take me that long because I'm taking breaks, because I'm scrolling on social media, things like that? And then you find where your free time comes into play. And honestly, when it comes to wanting to reach goals and wanting to be successful, free time is really, really important because you don't want to get burnt out. So, again, prioritize it, look at your time blocks, be realistic with yourself, and, just keep going. So, I think that's about all the time we have for questions. Thank you all so much for asking such great questions. I did want to give you all the opportunity to download our SMART goals sheet. Um, and I'm also going to drop the link in the chat for you guys. Go ahead and click over there, and I have a SMART goals worksheet for y'all where you can go through, write down, and see your goals that you want to do. Download it, print it, and make one for every single goal that you have. But yeah, like I say, y'all can scan that QR code, visit the chat to get the link. But other than that, I had so much fun talking to you guys about SMART goals today. Reach out to us. My name is Meagan at uglymugmarketing.com. Reach out if you have questions. And again, thank you so much for your time. Y'all have a remarkable Thursday and enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all.